Hey everybody, I just wanted to go over what we covered in class today. Some of you are out for the snow, and the project is going to be due on Thursday when we return, so let's get into it. So anyway, on Blackboard I posted this file. This is a Trophy Studio, and what it is essentially just a simple light setup with a little round podium pedestal and some lights and a camera. So the way that you're going to do this is when you open it up, this is what you're going to get. You have My Trophy Cup, which you can just simply select in the Objects Manager and delete. A sphere, which is essentially, if we open this up, encompassing the whole scene as this giant sphere. So it's lights and everything inside of the sphere. Um, I've added a gradient texture to the sphere. There's a main light, which is kind of a yellowy-ish warm light that casts an omnidirectional light with soft shadows on it. Okay, and it's sort of over off to the left side of the pedestal, and then there's a backlight, which is over off to the right side of the pedestal, and it's a blue color, and that just helps give a little bit more dimension in the shadow areas. So anyway, what you're going to have, well then of course I have my pedestal, which is just a simple cylinder with white color with a bump channel just to give it some texture. So when you get to your project, you're also going to notice that I've set up the parameters for this to be a vertical composition, and it's set up, the project settings are set up so that it is in letter format. So it's simple letter format, 8.5 by 11. The outputted resolution is going to be 300, and it's going to render out current frame. So all you need to do is, also you're going to see that this check is on, global illumination. When you're doing your test renders, just check that off because it's going to take a lot longer to render. When you do your final finished render, select global illumination on. All right. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. Go up to open up your other file, wherever it is. Go to Window, drop down, open up the other window. I made this little silly trophy for a snow day in honor of our snow day and many of them that we've had. So this is the snow day trophy with our snowman from previous project. So this is going to be my snowman, my trophy rather. I just grouped everything together so it's easier to copy and paste. Alright, so again, you can highlight everything, hit the shift key and just highlight everything, and then go up to objects, group object, select that, and then you can name it here. So I'm just going to take this, Command C, copy it, and go back to my Trophy Studio, and I'm going to paste it in here. So you're going to have to probably scale and position this accordingly. So I'm just going to move this up, and instead of I like the position of it. I think instead I'm just going to change the pedestal scale a little bit. So I'm just going to take the scale of the pedestal, the radius, and I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. That's a little bit better, and then drop this down just a little bit so it fits right on there. You can always go to the front view and check to make sure that it's resting directly on the pedestal. So that'll help a little bit. Right about there is pretty good. Okay, so get it set up, get it positioned. What I have in here is a camera, and if we look at this again, you can see that here's a good view of the camera. The camera is showing directly on the pedestal and your whatever your trophy is. And if we go out of here again, then what we're going to see is the frame format. All right. And one thing to notice about the camera is that you can't move it. Right now I've locked it in position. You can't rotate around or move around at all. And that's because I want everyone's trophy to look the same, on the same essential pedestal, same sort of background lighting, etc. What I did to do this was I just simply dropped in a camera with a target, and I added a tag to it. Now tags, there's many different ways to use tags. In this case it's called a protection tag. So click on the object you want to protect, go up to tags, Cinema 4D tag, and down to protection. Right, you click on that, it's going to drop it right in your object. And if I click on this here, you can see that what it does is it locks the position. The P is the position, the X, Y, and Z. It locks the scale, the X, Y, and Z scale, and then it also locks the rotation. So all of those things are locked. If I wanted to click them, open, I could unlock it, and then I could change things around, lock it again. But in this case, just leave it locked so everyone has the same sort of format. Okay, once you have yours, you can click to preview it. And what I need from you is a full resolution render. And in some cases, many of you will want to have more than just one image that you turn in. All right, so I want to see this sort of standard shot, and also a couple of detail shots. Now, my recommendation for this is, instead of clicking this off and moving the camera around, is actually just to put in another camera. So what you can do is grab a target camera, okay, pop this into place. You're not going to really see anything because it's going to put it in the same position as the other camera. Wherever the viewport is, it's going to be putting a camera in that sort of setting. But what you can do is go to the other sort of view here, and on here you can move the target around. Notice if I move this, it moves the camera to follow the target. So I'm just going to place this like right up by the snowman's head. I'm going to grab this camera and I'm going to move it up a little bit, and then I'm going to move it a bit closer. Okay, and this camera I'm going to call Detail 1. That's pretty good. And then now, if I want to see this, I go back to perspective view. Here I can kind of see the camera, through that file. If I want to look at what it looks like through the camera, go over to in perspective, go to the camera tab. Below navigation, use camera detail 1, and it's going to give me a zoom in shot, so I can see closely what that is. I may even want to get a little closer. And you can take these little handlebars on the side and zoom in a little bit more if you want. Also, you can move the target. If you want to move up and down, it's easier just to move the target a little bit than it is to try to rotate the camera. Okay, so you can preview it, and if that seems like a good detail, then I recommend adding the protection tag to it. So again, so for the protection tag, okay, and now you can't move this around at all. The cool thing is you can navigate between them, go back to cameras, use camera. That's the original camera that I have in the scene. That's the original camera, and then back to the detail camera, detail shot. All right. So what I'd like you to do is your final project. What you're going to turn into me are 3 stills, at least 3 stills. One, the overview, the camera that I've given you. This view, same format that everyone has. And then 2 other details. Show me other parts of the project so I can really see what you've worked on. Okay? Might be the back, might be the side, might be the text, might be another element of the detail, but give me something that I can really see how it's working. And then, to render this out, go to render settings. Output is all set for you. Go to save, choose path, whatever desktop, we'll call this Snowman Trophy. Alright, hit save. Probably best to save it just as a JPEG, a little bit smaller, but easier to manage. Don't need sound, turn that off. And turn global illumination back on. And then you should be set. Then all you need to do is, in the middle button, render to the picture viewer. It's going to render it out. Since it does have global illumination, since it is a much bigger file, it's going to take a little bit of time to render. But if I pause, okay, well, what seemed like a few seconds to you was actually 4 minutes and 51 seconds for me. That's how long it took for my project to render out with global illumination. But you can see it's a pretty nice looking file. Everything lines up pretty well. So this is what I'll need. Once you render this out here, you can close it out and you can find it. If you go to your Finder desktop here, for me it was Snowman Trophy somewhere. There we go. Preview it out. And it's gone. Sometimes this happens, doesn't it? There we go. Here it is. Final product, 300 dpi, nice looking high resolution render. So again, 1 standard shot like this, 2 other detail shots. Make sure you label them with your name. And what I'm looking for in terms of grading will be, are you following the basic steps of the project? your creativity, the research that you've done to search out other tutorials to find your follow your project idea, and then the final aesthetic project. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email, and I look forward to seeing your finished products on Thursday.